Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for August 17th. To update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 27 live feeds. It was day 40 in the house as we rapidly approach day 44. And a veto was won. OTEV was played. There is much turmoil in the house, a lot of intrigue to get to, and we shouldn't delay any further. With me to talk about it all is QT. How you doing, QT?
Hello, I'm doing great. So excited to be here. My first live feed update of the whole season, and we're almost halfway through, which is crazy. But I feel like this is a good one to talk about. There was some things that happened yesterday that's pretty interesting.
Quite a few things, a lot of clarifying things, and a lot of dilemmas, and a lot more nastiness, of course. Let's get to it. Of course, you know, Rachel Riley is the HOH. She nominated Mickey, Morgan, and Vince for eviction. And the big thing, a big question on everyone's mind was, does she plan to stick to these nominations given what she has told people like Mickey and even Ashley and Ava about potentially changing them? Who will be the renom if somebody does come off the block? Very likely it should be Lauren, but what about some other like wild options like Kelly? There's all kinds of things going on there. Ashley seems to be turning on Rachel based on these nominations, which is pretty wild in and of itself. So lots to talk about. But in the morning, Keanu is already talking to Rachel about, so if I win this veto, I think I need to take Vince down. It's like, no,
It's crazy. No,
don't do that.
the Keanu and Vince whole thing is very interesting to me. The fact that Keanu feels so good with Vince, but then he also like talks badly about him sometimes. But I don't know if that's just him like playing the game and trying to not show how close he is to Vince. Also, does Vince feel this way about Keanu? I feel like we never hear Vince's side. Okay, yeah, I didn't think so, but I'm like, maybe there's something I missed.
Vince has been trying to get Keanu out of the house for weeks.
Yeah, I feel like, to be fair,
I mean, he's no longer in a position to do so, but certainly when he was in power, he was very happy to have Keanu be the target. Rachel says no to Keanu. She says that basically she doesn't want to put anybody else up on the block. She doesn't want to put Lauren on the block. She thinks Lauren might go home, and seems to continue to play into this idea with Keanu that Mickey is the target, which is, of course, what Keanu wants. We don't know, or we haven't known for sure if that's what Rachel wants. But this was at least an early indication in the day that what we suspected is probably true, that Rachel doesn't want the veto to be used. At the very least, she certainly doesn't seem to want it to be used on Vinny. Keanu is convinced by this conversation and lets Vince know afterward, hey, I'm actually feeling like I'm not going to use it. And Vince is like, okay, fine, I'll pick Riley instead. Of course, Riley also doesn't plan to use the veto. And none of that matters anyway, because neither of them were chosen. Lauren and Will are picked to play in the veto competition. Now, this is actually potentially the worst case scenario for Rachel. If her plan is what we think it is, which is take down one of Mickey, Morgan, or Vince, obviously she doesn't want the veto to be used. But if the veto were to be used, Lauren is kind of the only solid replacement nominee option without dipping into some annoying territory like Kelly, who, yes, isn't like the best thing for Rachel's game, but would be too likely to leave if she's up on the block at the end of the week. Or she'd have to nominate one of the showmans, which would be very annoying, obviously, because it would piss them off. And she has bigger problems to deal with at the moment. Or she could put somebody like Ashley on the block as a pawn, but that also sucks because Ashley should be an ally for her despite everything that Ashley is currently doing. So either way, Lauren winning and using the veto on Vince, who is her secret final two, would be a very bad outcome. So this is definitely an interesting veto pick here.
Yeah, I think luckily enough, Lauren is not the type of player to make big waves. So even though Vince is her closest ally secretly or whatever, um, that's like the only thing that the hope that you can hold on to when she gets picked if you're Rachel. And also I feel like, yeah, I don't think she would want the nominations to change really, because you have three people up there where even if there's a world where Rachel would want to start working with Mickey again or pull Morgan in or whatever it is that she sometimes talks about with Ashley, you still have Vince up there. So like there's with the three, there's always a different target that you can have. So I don't think you necessarily need the veto to come down to put someone else up.
Yeah, and we do get a little bit of an indication from Lauren as well that she talks to Rachel during the day and says, "Hey, I really respect your nominations and the way that you did it. I think you did it really gracefully." And you know, the implication being like, I'm playing in this veto. You know, I respect your nominations. Not really something you would necessarily say to somebody if you were planning to use it if you won. Now. Will, on the other hand, is talking about potentially using the veto on Mickey. He talks about this with Ava. And you can tell that Will, in general, is continuing to very subtly, because it's Will, and he doesn't like to have opinions. But don't say that. Very subtly trying to be like, you know, if Mickey's on the block at the end of the week, she leaves. And, you know, if you sit next to Mickey in the final two, you win. And, you know, Mickey is maybe a number for us, but I don't know. You think Rachel will be mad if I use the veto on Mickey?
Yeah, I feel like Will and Ashley both seem to understand why Mickey's on the block. Obviously, I feel like everyone does. She's been running around. She was talking about Rachel, whatever. But I feel like from Will's point of view, he's been very vocal about the fact that he doesn't feel very comfortable talking to a lot of the people there because they're so young and whatever. Throughout the whole season, he's been saying that. But I feel like Mickey is one of the people, even if sometimes she can be a little bit too much, she's one of the people that he talks game with and that talks game to him. So I feel like for him, he would want to keep that number around because I mean, Will really doesn't have many people on his side and Mickey would be one of them. So I can understand from his perspective wanting to take her down. And I think he probably would have if he won.
Yes. And so Ashley has this conversation with Will and Ava, and she's talking about how they need to keep Mickey and Morgan. I talked about this yesterday because this is a big storyline through the week here, that Ashley is very upset with Rachel's nominations and is trying to change them. And I talked yesterday, I was like, what is her view here? Because for as messy as Ashley can be, she has been, for what it's worth, one of the more sort of one of the people who's able to see the board more than most, right? Strategically. She's the one that recognized the threat of the Vinny group and everything happening there. She tends to be able to see what she needs to be doing. And I was trying to figure out what is her angle here. And I think that yesterday made it more clear, especially the way that she was talking and the way that things are moving. And for me, at least, one of the reasons why it was harder to see earlier is because I think there's some key things that Ashley herself is missing that we know, that we kind of took for granted that she doesn't seem to know, like the fact that under the current regime that Mickey wants, Ashley's not a part of it, or at least wasn't. And in addition to that, this fear that Riley and Keanu are in lockstep when they really aren't. But basically, Ashley is worried that Rachel is going to go all in with Keanu, Kelly, Riley, Catherine, and then which frankly, not that much of a fear, I think. Those four people are not in lockstep. Kelly is not on board with Keanu and Rachel. Riley's not on board with Keanu, and Riley and Catherine in general are kind of doing their own thing. However, the real fear, the very genuine one that she should be afraid of, is she thinks if Mickey leaves, that pushes Vinny and Lauren into Riley and Catherine. And that is what I did talk about yesterday, something that they should be concerned about. And so for that reason, she's really hoping that she can make a change to these nominations. Now, what she was trying to do was get Kelly or Keanu nominated, which I think is counterproductive to what she wants. I don't think she knows that because she isn't, savvy to the inner workings of the minds of Keanu and Kelly. Obviously, a thing that she would like to have happen also would be if Rachel targeted the showmans themselves. That would be good for her if she could make that happen. That's not really what she's pushing for, though, at the moment. Ultimately, though, I think my biggest issue with what Ashley is doing is that, number one, it is blatantly obvious. It is beyond obvious what she's doing, and it's just pushing Rachel further away. And if you're looking at this from Rachel's perspective and you are dead set on Mickey or Morgan this week because they are a huge threat to your game at the moment, the fact that Ashley is going so hard against you only further pushes you into the arms of the showmans, more reliant on them because you no longer have Ashley. And if Ashley was able to sort of like play this a little cooler, she should be in lockstep with Ava and Will and Rachel, have all four of them together while Riley wastes his time with Keanu and Kelly is wasting her time with Keanu and all of this stuff. And that is such a viable path. I just think that Ashley isn't able to see it because, again, she doesn't see all of what's happening with Keanu and Kelly. There was a lot happening here, and I'm enjoying it because it's not just like a black and white, what the hell are you doing? Like, there is some validity to what Ashley's thinking, I think. It's just that she is missing some things. It's a mistake, but it's not as bad as most mistakes have been this season, and that's I'm getting a little excited about it.
Wow, we're getting an excited Taran for this update, not a crash out. That's good. No, I'm excited later. Right. I'm happy that you broke that down just now for me with Ashley, because in my mind, it's like Ashley is either has the best reads in the house or the absolute worst. That's from my perspective what I see. Mm-hmm. But now with what you've said, I feel like you've made a case for why it kind of makes a little bit more sense. I still, like you said, I think it's way too blatant and obvious what she's doing. And I think that's the downfall of it. It's one thing to like nudge Rachel a little bit or like see what you can do, try to talk to Lauren. But I don't know. It's just a little too obvious, especially with like her lying about the fact that Mickey was never coming for you. She's never said your name. Like, Mickey has said it to so many different people that if someone else brings the information to Rachel about exactly what Mickey said about everyone targeting her basically before the HOH on Thursday, Rachel will know that Ashley definitely knew that Mickey was saying that, because Mickey and Ashley are obviously so close. So I don't know. I feel like there's some things where like she's trying to hit the point home about Mickey not coming for Rachel at all. And it's like, that's clearly a lie.
And this is where I think like the biggest part of this mistake is, because instead of going to Rachel with the argument I just outlined, where she could say like, hey, listen, I know Mickey and Morgan are super frustrating and they're lying out of their teeth right now, lying through their teeth right now. But shouldn't we be concerned about Catherine and Riley? Like, they are so locked in with Keanu and Kelly, and they've all won a bunch of competitions at this point. Mm-hmm. Is there any world where we're able to like, mend fences with Mickey and Morgan, or is there a world where like we take out Vince this week? Because if we get Vince out, then we limit some of that ability to move in that direction, because we know Keanu is also linked with Vince, and Vince is really close with Riley. We need numbers in Mickey and Morgan, which is part of what she's arguing to Will and Ashley in this conversation, and approaching it like that signals to Rachel that she's still on her side, just trying to make a logical case. But when she goes to Rachel and she's so blatantly trying to manipulate her and giving her the selling points, the talking points from Mickey and Morgan, saying, oh, they were never coming for you at all, and Jimmy sucked too, and all of these things, it's just pushing Rachel further away. And that's, I think, the crux of it, is that for as much as I do think there is a logical standpoint from this, I do think that Ashley has been suckered into the emotional argument as well. And this is, I think, a theme of this update, for me at least, that there are a lot of players in this game that have been suckered into what you might call the Mickey and Morgan way of thinking and speaking and feeling about other players. And this is where they're really falling into this hole, because the way that Ashley is talking about this is so negative. And it's like, oh, well, Kelly just sucks and Lauren is spineless. And they're not only taking Mickey and Morgan's strategic talking points, which are bad to begin with, they're also taking their trash talking points. And they're sowing those seeds to people who don't want to hear it, because they're either nice people or they like the people that are being trash talked. And this is where we get to this Ashley, Will, and Ava conversation, where she talks about some very logical points. If those people over there, the showmans, Kelly, Keanu, Vince, and Lauren all hook up, that's really bad for us. But then she starts talking smack about Lauren for no reason. Oh, Lauren is the worst person to have been picked for this veto. And it's because she's been talking to Mickey and Morgan way too much, and she's infected with their sort of negativity, seemingly. And it's like, oh, freaking Lauren, she's a body that doesn't have any opinions. She didn't even vote to save Zach. Did you know that? She didn't even vote to save Zach. Like, what is she doing? And Ava is getting frustrated. Ava keeps trying to like interject and give some kind of rebuttal to be like, well, in Lauren's defense. But every time she tries to talk, Ashley speaks over her. She's, Lauren has no opinions. Well, I mean, maybe she's just, a little bit. No, but no, she just doesn't do anything. She's spineless. Well, maybe, but yeah, no. It's because she didn't even save Zach. And then Ava at one point finally gets fed up. She's, well, it's like she never has an opinion, Well, maybe she does. Maybe she does, and she just doesn't say it to you, Ashley.
Clock that T. Exactly.
And Ashley keeps talking over, didn't even register.
No, I was Ava in this moment, listening to Ashley say all of these things. And to your point too, it's like the way that it's mostly Morgan and Mickey, but it's kind of dwindling down to Ashley as well. But the way they talk, and oh my gosh, the way they say, do you understand? Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Every single, like after every few words, they're like, does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? And it's in a condescending way, I feel like, where it's like, to me, if they were talking to me and they kept saying that, I'd be like, well, I'm not an idiot. So yes, I do understand what you're saying. You don't have to keep asking that question. But yeah, it's just the way they talk, so like absolutely, like as if they know everything that's going on. And to Ava's point, Ashley doesn't talk to Lauren really. They don't have a working relationship. So even if, I mean, we know as viewers that, yeah, maybe Lauren is not doing that much and doesn't talk that much game with people, but from Ashley's perspective, it could just be that Lauren doesn't talk to you about game because you guys don't have a working relationship. You're not aligned. So yeah, it's so annoying hearing them talk about some of these people. I can't take it.
And there's nothing that signals more that you are under someone's spell than when you are echoing these kinds of points. Because it's one thing to agree with someone strategically and repeat their strategic arguments. It's another thing to be complaining about somebody in the same way that they were complaining about them. Like the Zach thing is such a Morgan coded complaint. So why is Ashley talking about it? Right. And so that's, again, just another clear indicator that like, oh, she's under their spell, which Ava very clearly thinks. Now, Ava, we know from just a couple of weeks ago, already not the biggest fan of Ashley, nearly put her on the block last week. And after this interaction with Ashley, fully crashes out about her again. And now it's at this point in the update, I think I realized as I was taking notes, I think I'm going to have to give a language warning because I don't think there's any way I can get through this update without dropping a billion F-bombs. Yeah. Because it's too actually relevant to a lot of what's happening. So fair warning. Ava's like, I was about to fucking explode. Did you see me? Don't fucking talk about somebody that way. She's just a body, just has no opinions, has no loyalty. I wanted to say, look at who the fuck I'm talking to. Fuck you. Never talk about Lauren that way. She's never been nothing but nice. Frankly, she doesn't have to say her opinions to you. You're a fucking liar. Will here, typically, a hype man is like, doesn't know how to agree with Ava. Yeah. I'm glad you just she's like, I handled it with class. Yeah, that. She's like, I hope Ashley is the renom at this point. I should have put her ass on the block. And this is going to be roughly her attitude throughout the day when it comes to Ashley.
Yeah, for someone, Ashley should have Ava like on her side. She should be part of this group with Ava, but she's slowly losing Ava too. Like, I feel like this is ultimately going to be a pretty negative week for Ashley, and like pushing so hard for someone who probably is going to be going home and losing some allies because of how hard she's pushing against other people.
Mm-hmm. So for her part, Ashley goes to Mickey a bit after this conversation and says, hey, just so you know, Ava doesn't care at all that you're on the block. It's just, so that's going on. Now there's another thing that happened. It was right around this conversation that they cut to some of them talking in the kitchen. They all are obsessed with ChatGPT. All of them. Oh, I had ChatGPT write my speech for this thing. Oh, I asked ChatGPT for everything. ChatGPT is the best. We've already heard that so many of them asked ChatGPT for help for strategy coming into the game. And,
this should have been the AI season. We need Ainsley in there.
Right? Anyway, Rachel has a conversation with Mickey. It's very similar to, what we've seen before. It's just Mickey continuing to be like, oh, Rachel, I just can't believe we're here. And, I felt really hurt after our conversation that you would nominate me like that. And, all of this, it's just the same stuff. And at this point, I think it's become fairly clear that Rachel is just fully BSing in these conversations. Rachel, though, crying also, I'd be so sad to see you or Morgan leave. It sucks so much.
Yeah, Rachel barely gives anything in these conversations, which I love, and just kind of lets Mickey spiral, and Mickey like talks in circles for a while. It always ends up talking back to or coming back to Jimmy and why she put up Jimmy, and it's just like, I can't. These go on for too
long. Rachel also does notice at one point, man, we're out of M&Ms again. They're so good.
Eat so much when they try to cover it up that they're using it for votes.
Yeah. And then there's a long hangout session before the veto competition with Keanu, Rachel, Kelly, Lauren, and Vince, just up in the boxing gym room, just like hanging out, talking about like random stuff, pets, whatever. Worth noting because it's part of like, I think what I would call like a continuing sort of storyline, especially with Keanu and Rachel, where they're just kind of hanging out. And we haven't really seen Rachel get to just hang out with many people in general. And she very clearly enjoys hanging out with Keanu for as much as he frustrates her. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. There was one other thing I wanted to mention before the veto competition, which, of course, after the players were chosen, Morgan, of course, was like, oh, fucking Lauren is picked. Okay, well, what do we do about this, Vinny? Do you think, well, we know she's spineless. Do you think you can get her to throw the veto competition to us? And Vinny was like, I don't know, maybe. And meanwhile, Lauren, I could tell, was very, very like dedicated. She really wants to win this. She was talking to Kelly the day before, saying, you know, that they both kind of figured she'd be the renom if somebody came down. Lauren understands this. She wants to win this veto competition badly to make sure that she stays off the block. And so she is heavily studying and trying to figure out, like, okay, what might it be? And Vince and Morgan are also studying. Nobody expects it to be OTEV because it would be way too early. But you can tell that Lauren is like really, really focused. And so will they get her to throw this competition? I don't think there's any chance.
Yeah, I think it's also crazy to think you can like ask someone to throw the competition when it's not their ally. That's the HOH.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we get to the veto competition, and the feeds are down for a couple of hours. We know that it is OTEV. Of course, also, Mickey did pray for the outcome of this veto competition. Trade herself, Vince or Morgan would win that veto. Unfortunately for her, the prayers are still going unanswered. They did not win the veto because it was, in fact, Lauren who went and won the Power of Veto. I have also reorganized the board. It was hard. You're welcome. But Lauren has won OTEV. She was dedicated. She also had, by the way, a good strategy, which is she had a pile that she just kept going back to because she's like the only actual super fan there, it turns out. Also, it only lasted 3 rounds.
It's so crazy. Like, how in the world? I mean, you guys are studying days, or should be, I guess. I feel like I hear them studying days and votes and all of this stuff. Like, how is it just not? They don't ask the craziest questions in OTEV. It's not super confusing. Like, it's stuff that you can deduct and figure out usually. So yeah, I don't understand. But at least it's more than last season. More than one round.
Yeah. Basically, the third question, I believe, was who was the only evicted house guest to have won a blockbuster? And the answer was Adrian. And most people seemed to know the answer, at least after the fact, they seemed to know the answer. But because a few of the players went, so like Lauren gets there with the correct answer, you know, early enough, I guess. Then apparently, like, Mickey's running in with an answer that was wrong, or something along those. Somebody did, which then panics people like Vince and Rachel who are searching for Adrian, and they think, "Wow, I'm not going to make it at all if I don't go up there now," and they just go for it and guess. And so then they all just ended up bringing the wrong answer, and Lauren is the only one that brought up Adrian, and Lauren wins in round 3.
Incredible. And Vinny is very upset about he's trying not to be a sore loser.
I thought I
He
looked
keeps
at every
saying.
single. I thought I saw every single one. I swear, I turned over every one, and I was looked straight at the Adrian when apparently it was right there, because apparently multiple people. There was an Adrian one just staring them in the face, and multiple people missed it. And I thought I would go went over every single one, and Keanu's like, "Look, you need to slow down in these competitions."
Right.
It's like, yeah, I've learned my lesson now, Keanu. Oh, geez, I can't believe it. This is so frustrating. I really hope I don't come off as a sore loser to the audience because I threw my thing down. You know, like I really hope that they don't think that of me. And I saw every single. I should have seen. I turned over every single one. I just can't believe. I really just. But you don't think they're gonna look at me like I'm a sore loser, do you? Because I did throw it down, and I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't want them to think that I'm a sore loser.
No, first of all, your impression of Vinny is spot on. It's perfect. You need to be a voice actor and fill in for him sometimes. But no, yeah, he like literally is spiraling about it. He's just standing in the bathroom for a while and then just starts spewing things out. Then he takes like the longest shower ever. I think on Twitter they were saying it was like 50-minute long shower. Like, I think he's
longer
just
than Ashley.
about this. Yeah, exactly. No one's talking about it.
It's so of course Vince is worried about what the audience is going to think. Morgan, for her part, is also mad at Kelly because Kelly cleaned Lauren's veto. Give her space. My God, Kelly.
Yeah, like what? She's cleaning off the goo from the veto. Like, what's the problem?
Let her have her moment.
It's one of those things where I feel like, when you just don't like someone, so anything that they do is gonna be the worst thing that they could possibly do. Like if it was anyone else cleaning it off, if Mickey was cleaning it off, it wouldn't be a problem. But it's because it's Kelly and she can't read the room.
Mm-hmm. If Zach had done it, wow, what a gentleman. Although, why Lauren? She also is like she's like now like, Lauren won. And, she is like literally the most perfect thing I've ever seen walk on the earth. But hopefully she's willing to use the veto. And it's like, well, what is happening? Morgan also, this was a funny thing that Sharon uncovered in her exit interview, that Morgan found Zach's bracelet that he had been wearing in the house, in the how he left it there, and she was like, "Did he leave this for me?"
Oh my gosh, no, I'm so embarrassed. The secondhand
Did
embarrassment.
he? Why did he leave this here? Oh my god! And so she's been like wearing this thing. She's been like keeping it. She says, I put it in my shorts when I played an OTEV. It was like he was competing with us. Oh my God. Oh, I miss him so much. So Sharon asked Zach about this. She said, yeah, what's up with the bracelet? And he said, oh, yeah, it was like really loose and old. So I just left it because I didn't want it anymore.
It's like it's just too much. I have no words. It's just secondhand embarrassment. This on top of her pulling his toothbrush out of the garbage and being like, "Oh, why'd someone throw this out?" Like, what? I can't. It's delusion. It's true delusion. I really do think there's mold in the house and like something is happening to these people.
Yeah. So that's what they're up to. Rachel talks to Keanu. She tells him she doesn't want the veto to be used. We're getting further confirmation of this. He says he agrees. He says Mickey is the target. They can't miss their shot at Mickey, but as long as they get Mickey out, that's what they need. And as long as Lauren is willing to vote to keep Vinny, they don't need to use the veto on Vinny. Lauren would be the swing vote in his mind. And if Lauren is voting to keep Vinny, then they're good. So they just have to make sure that Lauren is willing to vote for Vinny to stay, and then they don't need the veto to be used. And he then kind of goes to leave the conversation, and Rachel's like, "You're leaving already?" Oh, I can stay. And this again was such an indication to me, like Rachel is just like enjoying talking to Keanu. Like you can tell she is so much more sort of at ease with him than when she's talking to a lot of other people in the house right now. And I think she likes their banter. She starts talking about like, Keanu, you need guidance. You need guidance in this house. Like your reads. It's like, not all of my reads are horrible. And she's like, what? Like what? What do I have? What do I have wrong? She's like, no, I can't. I'm not gonna say. I can't say. It's not worth talking about it with you, Keanu. And he's like, no, you can't. Well, now you have to tell me. She's like, no. And he's like, I know about the Kelly stuff. Ashley told me what Kelly was saying. I know we can't trust Kelly anymore. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, see, I know things, Rachel. I know we can't trust Kelly. And don't worry, Kelly and Vince, they're the first people to go from this. I've got my eye on them. Don't worry. I got this. I think not all of my reads are, in fact, I think most of my reads are very good. Most married are really good. And so we got this thing going on. They call themselves the Frenemies. Keanu loves the Frenemies as a name. Rachel does not as much. She's like, hopefully we're not actual frenemies. He's like, no, it's great. It's the story. It's for the story. He's like, I'm already picturing it, Rachel. I stand up at the final three and I say, Riley, you're the best man I've ever known in my life, but I need to take Rachel to the fight.
I love these two together. They're so sweet. It's nice to see their frenemy relationship and how it goes from them like yelling at each other to now these conversations that they're having. And I love that Rachel's HOH because I feel like they're really able to cement the relationship and make it more of a game working relationship. I do have a question for you. So when Mickey and Rachel are talking, one of the things that does keep coming up, and Ashley brings it up too to Rachel, is the things that Keanu tells them about what Rachel has said. And that's the only thing that starts making me feel like maybe Rachel really won't trust Keanu, because it's things that she genuinely has told Keanu in confidence that's gotten back to them. Do you feel like that is or will make her hesitant to like really commit to working with him?
I mean, I think it has made her reluctant to tell him all things.
Yeah.
But I think that she sort of sees Keanu for who he is, and recognizes that for as messy as he is, he's at least like the mess she knows.
Yeah.
Versus the mess she doesn't. And he is at the point where he is telling her most of the things that he is telling other people about her. That's at least how he feels. He's like, I'm already, Mickey thinks that she can drop dirt on me, but I've already told Rachel all of those things. And so they are working from a pretty decent, like, base at this point. And so yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty solid. I mean, he's going to continue to be messy, and she needs to distance herself from that at times, as we'll see later in the night. But you know, it's very much so, I think, something that yeah, like, does she fully trust him? I don't think so. Not because she doesn't trust his intentions necessarily, but because she doesn't trust his mind.
Yeah, I feel like he's very well intentioned when it comes to Rachel, and really does want to work with her. I mean, we like see him even going over the things that she tells him of like how to play the game afterwards. So I like that, but I just think he's a little too messy. Like, he's not, I think for anyone, he's probably not the person that you can rely on 100%.
Well, the other thing too is that he's so easy to read. Like, Rachel fully knows when Keanu's telling her the truth or lying to her, because she's experienced both a lot, and it's so obvious when he's lying to her.
Yeah, true.
So Keanu, fresh from his conversation with Rachel about Lauren not using the veto, talks to Vinny and says, yeah, I don't think Lauren's going to use it. I don't think that's in the cards. I think you should go to Lauren and say to her that you don't want her to use the veto, because that would be bad for her game, and secure her vote, because that's what matters. We need to secure her vote. Of course, Vinny doesn't really care for that advice. He wants the veto used on him, and his secret final two, somebody who has been very loyal to him in the past, has the veto. She can't be renommed if she uses it on him. Obviously, Vinny's going to want her to use the veto on him. So first he goes to, and again, this is, I think, a good instinct from Vinny. He does go to Riley first to ask Riley, because this is the thing, right? Okay, let's just reset this. Lauren has the veto. The situation we talked about before, when she was picked for the veto, is now reality. Lauren can't be renommed. She can use this veto on Vinny, and it would force Catherine or Riley up. It would force Kelly up, potentially. It would force maybe even Ashley up on the block, potentially. And so Lauren using the veto is a huge headache for Rachel. But there are some obstacles in the way of Lauren using the veto. One is that Catherine and Riley are two of her allies, and they might be upset with her if she uses it, given that they are potential renoms. So to quell that before it even gets anywhere, Vince goes to Riley and asks him if he'd be okay with him asking Lauren to use the veto. Now, I think Vinny is a bit too vague about this, a bit too hesitant to be real about why he's asking Riley this. Later, Riley's going to be like, why the fuck am I being asked by Vinny? Like, I'm Lauren's dad. Like, geez. But he gets the okay from Riley that he can ask Lauren to use the veto. So that's one of the things. Now, of course, there are other things. Lauren using the veto on Vince exposes their alliance even more, right? Why would she be doing this? It pisses Rachel off for no particular reason. Rachel right now kind of open to working with Lauren. And it potentially angers Riley and Catherine, despite whatever they're going to say about, like, maybe it's, it's okay. It also potentially exposes Kelly, who is a solid ally for Lauren. Kelly, one of the few people, or Lauren, one of the few people that Kelly seems to genuinely want to work with. and a valuable asset for Lauren at this one. She basically picked up Kelly off the floor when Vince dropped her. So there's a lot of reasons to potentially not use this veto. We're going to go into more detail about her dilemma in the future, but for right now, Vince is moving in that direction. He's saying he's talking to Riley, he's getting the okay, and so he's prepping to go ask Lauren about this. Lauren then talks to Keanu and Kelly, and Kelly is, first of all, explaining, because it's gotten out, explaining the whole welcome to the party thing. Now, if you don't remember, the day before, when Mickey, Morgan, and Vinny were nominated, Kelly hugged Mickey and said, welcome to the party. And Mickey crashed out about it. She was very upset. And Kelly's like, I say that to everyone who goes on the block. It's not even like a mean thing. I mean it genuine. Like, welcome. Like, welcome. Like, you're not alone. I'm here too. Like I didn't even mean it like that. So she explains that whole situation. Then they start talking about the veto. And Lauren says, you know, she wouldn't want to use it and put the two of them in trouble, Keanu and Kelly. She wouldn't want them to be renommed, which of course is what she would say to them. Keanu says, well, listen, here's my thing. Just pay attention to who is really on your side now that you have power. Pay attention to how they talk to you, the difference in how they might talk to you now that you have power. Pay attention to who is asking something from you and who's maybe telling you, don't use the veto because it's not good for your game. Whoever says something like that, that's somebody that's really on your side. That's somebody that you should really vote to keep. Now, at this point, I'm like, you know, Keanu's trying to be like discount Anthony Douglas right now, right? Like he gave Vince some advice. Now he's trying to set Lauren up with this so that Vince will go to Lauren and say, "Don't use the veto for your game." And then in Keanu's mind, Lauren will be like, "Wow, oh man, this is exactly what I should be looking for." Now at this point, I'm thinking, well, this is funny because Vince is not going to follow Keanu's advice. He's going to ask Lauren to use the veto. So this is going to fall flat. But it got worse because Keanu then ran downstairs and said to Vinny, okay, so I just set Lauren up for you. I just told her that she should trust the people who tell her not to use the veto for her game. So you should say, hey, don't use the veto for your game, and then she'll definitely vote for you to stay this week. And then, of course, when Vince talks to Lauren in just a bit, he tells Lauren, so Keanu told me that he told you. Lauren's like, freaking Keanu.
Yeah, I can't. Keanu, it's like as soon as you feel like maybe Keanu's trying to be genuine from Lauren's perspective, then Vinny tells you that, and it's just like, okay, we can't trust him. He's always getting himself into these situations though. Like Keanu just needs to sit down for a second and not talk game to anyone. Like he can use where like Riley or Lauren sometimes don't talk game. He needs to like give a little to them and then take a little from them of like, just sit back and relax for a second, because sometimes he's just doing too much, especially this week. He's safe. His new ally, Rachel is HOH. He doesn't need to do
the first week he's been safe in the entire game. And he's acting like it. Even before this moment, I just had this like flash of like watching him be in a good position, or at least temporarily. I was like, it's really like the inmates are in charge of the asylum right now. Like it's so wild to me that Keanu is in any kind of power position in this game, given the way that he plays in his position all season.
No, it's so crazy. And he like really feels like he's in power. And later, I guess we'll talk about the conversation he has with Ashley and Rachel, but he's like, you really think that I don't know everything going on in this house, or I don't have the most influence in this house? Keanu, what is going on?
I don't think I've ever seen a worse player in a better position.
That's insane. I mean, I feel like we're going to get a lot of that this season for sure, because they're just bad players.
It's very funny though. So that's what Keanu's up to. After Keanu leaves the room with Lauren and Kelly, Lauren's like, okay, Kelly, how are we really feeling? And Kelly's like, no, I mean, I think you could certainly not use the veto. I think that taking Mickey out of the game is what we should do this week for sure. And Lauren asks Kelly, like, what do you think? Like, how does Keanu really feel about me? And Kelly's like, I don't want to say indifferent, but you don't come up a lot. In like her very Kelly way, where she did not mean that as a dig whatsoever. She's just being completely genuinely honest because she just doesn't come up a lot. And she goes on to say, but listen, obviously we can't trust him. I know what he's up to. Him and Rachel are like locked in, and that's bad. So I'm gonna need your help to take them out, Lauren. You already know my plan. She's like, what, wait, which plan? To backdoor Rachel. I'm going to stack the noms, and then I'm going to put up Rachel, and maybe both Rachel and Keanu. And I'm going to need your help with this, Lauren. And Lauren's like, yeah, all right. So that's where Kelly is, of course. So then Lauren goes downstairs and talks to Vince. And Vince puts the campaign on to try to get Lauren to use the veto on him. Now, there's a lot of reason to use the veto on Vince. He is an ally of hers. If she uses the veto, he's safe. If she doesn't, he could leave this week. You never know. I'm usually an advocate of, you should probably use the veto on your ally to make sure that they're safe. This idea of like appeasing the house by not doing it is pretty silly. The idea of hiding your relationship by not using it, less silly, but hard to pull off. And so typically you might want to do something like this. Now, there are some caveats here, especially in Lauren's case. The problem with Lauren using the veto on Vince is that the replacement nominee is likely, at this point, either Kelly or Catherine or Riley. And that's kind of at best a lateral move, and at worst, a worse spot for her, because those are also her allies. And in many ways, more valuable allies than somebody like Vince, who would throw her under the bus in a second. Which is not to say Kelly wouldn't either, or that Riley and Catherine wouldn't either. But, Vince is slippery, not super, super valuable. And more importantly, somebody like Catherine, Riley, or Kelly would likely leave, or at least have a higher chance of leaving on the block next to Mickey or Morgan than Vince would, which means to get her desired outcome, which is protect all of her allies and take out one of Morgan or Mickey who are still ranting and raving about her, leaving Vinny on the block actually does make some sense, on top of getting to, theoretically appease a little bit of the house, not piss off Rachel, hide the relationship with Vince. There's a lot of benefits to actually not using it. Now, I could genuinely see it going either way, though. Again, what a world we live in where there's a dilemma where somebody's not just doing the blatantly bad thing because there's actual options. But that's the dilemma that currently exists for Lauren. And then Vince starts his campaign. He tells her about the Keanu thing. And she's like, I can't believe Keanu. Oh my God, I knew he was doing something weird with that. He goes on to say that Keanu confirmed to him that Lauren would have been Rachel's renomination. She's like, oh, damn it, Rachel needs to go. So basically his argument is, why even appease Rachel at all? And you know what? The thing too is that Keanu really did want you to use it. He said he was using reverse psychology on you to get you to use it, which is not what Keanu said. But something that Vinny is trying to pretend is something that said, oh, people really do want you to use this. She expresses some concerns. What if it exposes us? What if it pisses off Rachel? And I'm going to say again, I think this is where Vinny really falls off track, because I talked about it at the start. The theme of this update, the negativity that slips through. He starts talking like he's Mickey and Morgan because he's been spending so much time with them. Oh, language warning, who gives a fuck what Rachel thinks? People already know they're close anyway. Here's the thing, Lauren. I'm not trying to pressure you. But like, I'm just worried. I'm worried because like the votes, like I would have to be relying on Kelly's vote. And what if Rachel changes her mind? Rachel hates me. She hates me. And so what if she changes her mind and tells Kelly to vote me out? And then Kelly just votes me out. Like, Rachel would do that. And Kelly would do whatever Rachel says. She would. No, Lauren, she would. She would do whatever Rachel says. So, and because Rachel hates me and Kelly's a lunatic, then she would do that too. Kelly's a total wild card. Did you hear she said, "Welcome to the party" to Mickey? And oh my God, it pisses me off how happy she's been the last few weeks. Like, I don't want to pressure you, but I don't want to leave my hands. I don't want to, I want to be here too much for my fate to be in the hands of fucking Kelly. Like, oh my God. He's saying this to Lauren, like the sweetest person in this game, about Kelly, a person she likes, a person she was just talking to about targeting Rachel, a person who she has a much better read on than he does, a person who she knows didn't mean anything by "welcome to the party." And his crash out about this, one that he's been working on with Mickey and Morgan for all week long, you can see again in her body language and the way that she's like looking at him is just not the right way to be talking to Lauren. And you think that Vinny would know this, but he's been like just this so negative, and it's just not the way to talk to Lauren. And I really feel like he just completely blew like his shot at getting her to use this veto when he went down this path.
Yeah, I think that a big part of Big Brother's game is being able to be adaptable in conversations and kind of mirroring the person that you're talking to. And that's, I think, some of the greats, that's what they do. And that's why they end up winning, because the person you're talking to then feels connected to you and feels like you understand them. But this conversation clearly showed, and I do think it started out pretty good. Like, Vinny started pretty calm, and I was like, okay, we might get somewhere. But then he just goes off the rails, and it's like you said, that's just not the way to talk to Lauren. And anyone with like a good, you don't even have to have a good game sense, just like natural people skills would tell you that this is not the way to talk to Lauren to get her to do something that you want. So yeah, this is not good. And I wish that more people would adapt their conversations depending on who they were talking to.
Yeah, I really feel like, you know, people like Vinny and Ashley, not to say that they haven't been negative on their own, but I think that like they've been convinced by Mickey and Morgan, who have, you know, been acting like they're in charge at the very least for the last few weeks, that this is the house dynamic, that this is the way that people should be talking in the house about these people. And they are forgetting that other people might not feel the same way, and that other people might not be so negative about other people. And it's causing them to just bounce right off of them.
But I feel the weird thing is that everyone, like these people, Ashley, Vinny, they do talk about the fact that they don't like how Mickey talks to them, or they feel like sometimes it's a little bit too much. So I feel like they know that it's not good, but yeah, it just becomes, I guess, the culture of the house, and it's what you're used to getting. So you feel like you have to do that in turn. But it seems like they also understand that when Mickey and Morgan do it, it's not good.
Mm-hmm. So Lauren basically says to Vinny after this ranting and raving, I'm going to have to think about it. I'm going to have to think about this. In the meantime, Rachel talks with Morgan. It's a lot of the same stuff as with Mickey. She's, I think, just lying to Morgan. I don't want to see either of you leave. Morgan comes away from this conversation. By the way, all of this sort of like, I would say, very boring work that Rachel is putting in is working. Morgan is saying she doesn't want to come after Rachel. She does think that Rachel is like regretting the nominations and would be willing to do something bigger, like put up Keanu or something if the veto was used, which is putting more of the pressure on Lauren. So effective stuff there from Rachel. Mickey, in the meantime, continues to work on what she's doing. She cries to Kelly about the "welcome to the party" comment. Kelly tries to explain, I didn't mean anything by that. But in the process of this conversation, Mickey talks a little bit more about Rachel and the conversations that they've had about Kelly, furthering Kelly's sort of ire toward Rachel, because just to try to clear this a little bit, Mickey told Rachel about some of the things that Kelly said to Mickey about Rachel. Rachel then in turn was like, I knew that. I can't believe she's doing that. She's saying these things about you, Mickey. Then Mickey was able to use what Rachel said to her to Kelly to say, hey, you can't trust Rachel because she's telling me these things. And so now Kelly is even more anti-Rachel than she was before. Previously, she was saying, I'll target Rachel once we hit jury. Now she's saying, I'll target Rachel next week. Which is what Lauren, I think, would have been pushing her for anyway, because Lauren is also very anti-Rachel right now as well, because she's been told by Vince that she was for sure the renom choice. And she's very concerned about how close she is with Keanu, who is also trying to manipulate her in this moment. So there is still a large amount of anti-Rachel sentiment going around, something that she needs to be very wary of. So Ashley continues to complain to Will about Rachel. This is more anti-Rachel stuff. She's saying, oh my God, she made these nominations because of her ego. She just can't handle that when she's not in charge, and she felt like Mickey was in charge, so on and so forth. And so again, lots of Rachel talk happening still.
Yeah, and I've noted also that Mickey did exactly what she didn't want Rachel to do, where like Rachel wanted to obviously take what Mickey said about Kelly and use it to see if she can actually trust Kelly or not. And Mickey does the same thing reverse to Rachel. So double standards are crazy. But I mean, I can understand. We're in a game. It's what Mickey should be doing. But it's so hard to root for Mickey now because I think she's actually a really good player. I think she just does the wrong thing sometimes. And now on top of that, it's like she's mean about some of the stuff that she's doing. So it's hard to root for Mickey the player without thinking about Mickey the person and how she's being towards these people. But I think Mickey actually does play really good and has some amazing way of getting people on her side, people that were completely against her. Cause like even with Kelly, I feel like she makes Kelly feel like, oh, you haven't been talking to me too much and you've been keeping your distance, when really she's the one that I think started that whole thing of keeping distance from Kelly. But then she like uses it as a reverse to make Kelly feel bad. And I feel like she tried to do the same thing with Rachel in her conversations with Rachel. And I think she's pretty effective with some people, especially with Kelly, it seems like in that conversation.
Well, I would say, to be clear, Kelly still wants Mickey out this week. She just, I think, maybe kicked Rachel up on the priority list for future weeks.
Yeah, I just feel like in Mickey's conversations, it seems like, which I guess we haven't seen the repercussions of it and if people are actually believing it, but it feels like she's able to kind of pull people in a little bit, at least with some people.
I will say this. She certainly tries.
Yeah, true.
Where a lot of people don't.
Yes.
Mickey will keep trying. So after her conversation with Vince, Lauren talks to Catherine about the veto, and basically says to Catherine that her instinct is to not use it. But she wants to like talk through options. Catherine says she basically agrees that she should not use the veto. Certainly not on Mickey. Mickey needs to go. It's like, oh boy, like you really did something there, Mickey, taking out Jimmy to protect Catherine and Riley. They now want you gone more than anybody else in the house. Lauren says that the only thing is, I don't want to not use the veto and then have Vinny go home, lose an ally. I think that would suck. And I think this, again, is a very genuine concern from Lauren. But Catherine says, I promise you, Riley and I are voting for Vinny to stay no matter what. You don't have to use this veto because, we are locked in. The votes are locked in. Lauren knows, and she didn't say this to Vinny, but Lauren knows that Kelly is locked in as a vote to keep Vinny at the moment, at the very least. And so she might be a little concerned. Kelly is a wild card. You never fully know. But I think she is, kind of contemplating the risk factor here. If I don't use the veto on Vinny, the upsides are much higher. If I do use it, it guarantees Vinny's safety, but then who's the renom? Is it Kelly? Because that's not great. Is it Riley or Catherine? That's not great. Now, what I will say is, if Lauren was able to pull something off like, hey, if I use the veto on Vinny, it's Ashley that goes up in his place, then I would say the calculus sort of falls on the other factor, on the other scale for me. Like, I would say then probably use it. If Ashley is the renom, I would use it. but you'd need to know that, and Ashley would need to be the renom, and those are two things that are going to be difficult for her to get, especially if Rachel doesn't want her to use the veto in the first place. So given that, I think it probably does make sense for her not to use it. So she has this long conversation with Catherine. And then upstairs, there's another long conversation going on with Keanu, Rachel, and Ashley. And Ashley is just continuing to repeat the Mickey and Morgan talking points over and over. And Keanu pretends like it's working on him and is like, oh, yeah, I'm willing to keep Mickey. And if I won HOH, I'd go after Riley and Catherine. And it's like, oh, Keanu, what are you doing?
No, this is really funny. I was so confused, but also like not confused because it was so clear that he was lying about this. Like, there's no way that he feels like Mickey's good, and he's like making the cases, he's reflecting the case. I guess maybe he is doing what I said I want people to do, is like reflect or mirror the person that you're talking to. But yeah, he's like, I feel like Mickey's actually really good because she's the strongest person excuse me, she's the strongest person in the house, and then after she goes, who would be the next person to fill that role? So I think we just need to keep her. Like, just making these random points that I'm like, okay, I think Ashley's feeling like he's telling the truth, but I actually don't know. Like, I don't know. It's a weird switch.
Well, then they start talking about farts for what seems like 2 hours. So,
Yeah.
After Keanu leaves, Rachel's like, I think he was trying to like trap you. I don't know what he was doing there. Like, it was just a strange thing for Keanu to do. It may or may not impact him moving forward, especially given some of the other things going on, which is that Mickey has, in fact, pulled out the M&Ms again. It's time. She pulls out the M&Ms so she can talk with Catherine. And not only are the M&Ms annoying because of like the fact that it's the same conversation every time. It's always annoying regardless of who's doing it. It's so annoying when people use props because they just always say, it used to be like, I'm going after him. And they'd like gesture toward the bed. And it's like, just say the name. It's so annoying. But with the M&Ms, it's like, so if he goes over here, it's like, I can barely see. This is annoying. She does the whole M&M thing with Catherine. The main point of this is to throw Keanu under the bus, is to say that she heard from Rachel that Keanu was going after the showmans. And you know that Rachel and Keanu are tight, right? And all of this stuff. And Kelly gets involved, and it's a whole big mess of things. It's a very long conversation with Catherine with the M&Ms. And Catherine doesn't buy it. She goes upstairs and wants to debrief Riley on her conversations. She sort of managed to separate herself from him like it's the movie Together. And he in the process has been like, I'm being pulled towards you. So she goes back to debrief him on everything, and he's already howdy, seemingly because she dared talk game with people that weren't him. And I say seemingly because he's about to explain that is why he is pouty. She says, basically, Mickey told me that Rachel said to Keanu, that Rachel told her that Keanu wanted to break up the showmans. But when Rachel talked to us, she said Mickey is the one that said it. And now Kelly is saying that Rachel started an alliance with Keanu, but it's not like a real alliance, and that we can't trust Rachel. And it's just like, so much information. And Riley's just like, again, language warning. Why are you even talking to those people? What are you doing? Like, now I'm fucking pissed. Like, and Catherine's like, Riley, it's like, 2 hours with Mickey? Like, what are you doing? She's like, Riley, you're kind of making me feel like an idiot. I'm not calling you an idiot, but you shouldn't be involving yourself in conversations with people whose fucking games are in the ground. Kelly's game is in the ground. Mickey's game is in the ground. And fucking Vince asking me to permission to talk to Lauren like I'm her father. Like, what are you? Why? And then they're just kind of like laying in silence for a while. Catherine doesn't know what to say. He goes, Catherine, you don't have to be up here. What? You don't have to lay with me. I want to. I'm not saying you don't have to. I'm not talking to you like you're an idiot, Catherine. I don't think you're an idiot at all. I just care about you in this game, and I don't want to lose you or me. Kelly is the loudest mouth in this fucking game. Okay, that's fine. It's not fine. It's not. When I win HOH, I'm putting Kelly, Keanu, and Ashley on the fucking block. Why? Because I want all three of them to fucking go home. I don't give a fuck. It's pissing me the fuck off. I don't know. I feel bad about this whole Mickey thing. I don't feel bad about it. And hey, Catherine, watch your attitude. I don't have an attitude. No. It's your tone. That fucking voice.
I hate
Feeds
this
off of them in that moment.
No, that triggered me. Like, even just reliving that right now, it was horrible. Like, I was texting all of my Big Brother group chats, like, what is going on? This is horrible. He's scary. Like, genuinely, I'm scared of him. If I was in that conversation, I would be a little bit afraid. And I feel like Kat obviously likes him to some capacity, or she likes him, right? But it feels like she's trying to like appease him and make him feel better, and just anything that he says. When at first, also in the conversation, I thought he was mad at the other people for pulling her, and then it became clear that he's mad at her for being pulled and staying down there. And she's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, well, when I get pulled, I only get pulled for 15 minutes. And she's like, okay, well, there was a lot going on. She was also talking to like multiple people during that time. And like, why can't she talk to multiple people? Why can't she be down there for 3 hours, 4 hours? She's in this game playing a game. She has to. And then he tries to say, like, I'm not telling you how to play the game. You do whatever you want, but you're making a mistake. It's like, well, maybe she's not. She's actually doing really good. And that's the other thing, is I feel like this was one of Kat's best days, and she's doing amazing in the house. Kat and Riley are like the two votes that everything is hinging on. And she's using that to her advantage by talking to all of these different people and trying to get information and stuff from them, which is what Riley probably should be doing too. So the whole conversation, it was just so frustrating. And the long like pauses of silence where like he's clearly just so upset with her, he can't talk. It's scary. I need him to stop or get out of the house.
Yeah, I mean, this was probably Catherine's best day strategically, because she spent time away from Riley and she was talking to other people, and she's putting herself in a good position moving forward. You know, we've talked about it a lot already. It's clearly progressing. The way that Riley talks to her, tries to manipulate her. He showers her with attention and then withholds it when she doesn't give him what she wants or what he wants. And it's now gone from just, taking away the attention into berating her if she's not behaving in the way that he wants her to. This is... what I will say is, if you ever find yourself in situations like this, these are massive red flags, and you should get out of that situation immediately. That is my opinion. Definitely just some nasty stuff going on here.
Yeah, really bad. I hate this for Kat. But it does seem like her family on the outside is like, don't worry, when she gets home, we'll protect her and take care of her.
Yeah, I mean, she had a conversation with Ava about this was, I think, a couple of days ago, and then had another conversation today. It might have been with Ava, it might have been someone else, it might have been Lauren, about how, Catherine's kind of had a rough time of it. She says she isn't really super close to her family. Her obviously she's had some tragedies, and she's just kind of feels like she doesn't have many people, and so that she's kind of like talked about that. Ava's like, yeah, I mostly just miss my boyfriend and, stuff like that. And then she kind of opened up a little more to Ava yesterday about that and some of the things that she's gone through. I certainly would hope that she's got some people to talk to after the game, but we'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully Riley just gets voted out soon, so she doesn't even have to worry about it.
Not looking like that's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Meanwhile, after all those conversations with Rachel and everyone else, Rachel has that conversation with Ashley after the conversation with Keanu. Ashley goes down and talks to Mickey and Morgan about the Keanu stuff. She really feels like they can get Rachel to backdoor Keanu if they can get the veto used. And so this becomes a whole thing. Now, we know this is very unlikely at this point, that the veto will be used at all, let alone Keanu going up on the blocks. I'm not going to go into too much detail about all of their planning because I think it's all for naught. However, during all of this, there are some interesting things. One is that Morgan is convinced that if she stays on the block, she will go home. So she's trying to get the veto to be used on her and not Vinny. And so she's constantly talking about, like, it's going to be me. It's going to be me. And then Mickey is getting pissed. She's like, Morgan, you need to stop being so negative. You need to stop. You're speaking. You don't know how powerful your voice is. You're speaking that into the universe. She chastises Morgan for this as they continue to plan for this Keanu move. So that's all that's happening. Ava talks to Rachel late into the night, talking more about how frustrated she is with Ashley. And we're finally getting a little bit more from Rachel, at least when she talks to Ava, about how she's feeling about Ashley, because she basically says, I agree, Ava. I can tell that Ashley is coming up here and just repeating talking points given to her from Morgan and Mickey. And lets it, is a little more open with Ava seemingly about how she is potentially looking to take one of Morgan or Mickey out of the game, maybe Mickey herself. She says, Mickey is not somebody that she thinks she can trust. If Mickey can put up her ally Jimmy, she can definitely do it to her, Rachel. I quite honestly, Ava, I don't understand these people in this house. I don't get why people keep putting up their allies. Me neither, Rachel.
Right.
We're all trying to understand it.
It's not making much sense to us.
So that's seemingly where the day falls. That is where we seem to stand. Lots of movement in the house, as I said. But anything else that you wanted to bring up, QT?
No, I don't think so. I feel like Rachel is doing a pretty good job as HOH. I think I feel like she's finally showing people like how an HOH should kind of be done. I mean, sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. What was I trying to say? Oh, I think I like that Rachel is not just staying in the HOH room. I feel like a lot of people this season, when they get HOH, just stay up there. I mean, we just saw it last week with Ava. I don't remember one time that she left the room. But Rachel is being very social with people and like doing her makeup downstairs in the bathroom, letting Will sleep upstairs so that she can sleep down in the rooms with everyone else. And I feel like that's a really good way to run an HOH, is like, you have the HOH room if you need to have those private chats with people, but don't just use it as the only place that people can find you. And it's just like a little thing that I feel like Rachel is doing that I really appreciate.
Yeah. Ava did talk to Rachel about wanting to work with Lauren as well in this conversation. Rachel seemed open to it. She doesn't know just how anti her Lauren is at the moment, in part because of the knowledge that she was the potential renom, but also because she's just that connected to Vinny anyway. But something worth noting for sure. So that's where we stand. Another long update here. It's like we're this far into the game and things are still just like developing and shifting because there's still no proper structure in the game. But what this means is Lauren holding the veto, she is going to have to make this decision. She seems to be leaning toward not using the veto. Given that she's leaning toward not using the veto, if things stand as they are, Mickey almost assuredly at this point will be voted out if she does not win the blockbuster. If she does, then Morgan would likely be voted out over Vinny at this point. And so the question then becomes like, where are the alliances and allegiances going to go from here? Will Ashley come back to Rachel? She kind of needs to. Will Ava ever be willing to work with Ashley at this point? Where will Lauren fall in all of this? There's a lot of intrigue here. And again, the fact that Riley is not on board with Keanu, Riley seemingly would put up Kelly, Keanu, two of his biggest fans, is pretty wild. And I think like what yesterday also made blatantly clear is that like, not that we didn't know this before, but the position that Riley and Catherine are in, which is a very good one, was certainly not made by them. It's very much like other people falling short. And of the two of them, Catherine and her strategic conversations yesterday, clearly head and shoulders above Riley, and sort of any success that I think that they're having will largely stem from her strategic mind, if not his sort of social standing in the game.
Yeah. Also, a funny thing or I don't even know if it's funny, but during the Riley and Kat conversation, Kat is obviously telling Riley that like Keanu is one of the people that is saying he wants to get the showmance out. And then Keanu comes and joins their conversation and like lays down with them, is trying to joke. And Riley's just clearly like so upset. And Keanu's like, what's wrong? Like, does someone have a problem with you? If they have a problem with you, they have a problem with me. And Riley's like, yeah, I'm okay, man. I'm okay. And like just is closing his eyes, not even looking at Keanu. And it's just so clear that he is frustrated with him. So hopefully it doesn't come as much of a surprise if Riley gets HOH and puts Keanu up.
Yeah, it was in the middle of that whole thing that I reenacted that Keanu comes out of the fart conversation. And he stands in the doorway and like has a back and forth with Ashley and Rachel about farts. And Rachel's, oh, Keanu, no. He's like, what? What are you going to? Come on, everyone farts. And like they're doing that in the middle of Riley being like, hey, watch your fucking attitude. And then they have to pause for that, which is a couple of minutes. And then Keanu finally gets out, sees them like, hey guys, what are you up to? And they're like, nothing. He's like, they're like, what were you guys? Oh, we were just talking about farts, like I was going to say Rachel's going to explode if she keeps holding them in. and Riley's like, He's like, what's going on, Riley? Like, nothing. Just bullshit. Just bullshit.
It's so bad. I can't deal with him anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is what we have for you today. Of course, I will be live tonight on YouTube and Twitch watching tonight's episode of Big Brother 27. It'll be the HOH competition that Rachel wins. I'm actually genuinely sort of, I don't want to say excited. I'm definitely interested in seeing the episode so that we can get more insight from Rachel, who I think has been fairly coy with her real thoughts about the week so far. I think we have a good idea of what they are, but it'd be nice to just hear her voice them to us. So looking forward to that. Of course, we'll be here on the podcast as well afterward to recap it all. So tune in for the stream for the live reactions, and then here on the podcast afterward to talk through it. You can, of course, also find my book Behind the Mirror at taranarmstrong.com if you want to pre-order it. QT, what are you up to?
Up to anything and everything. Reading books. Gonna read your book. I can't wait. But yeah, everyone can follow me at Corey Tyler, QUORITYLER.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today, and I will see all of you next time.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.